was out here in Ukiah, California a couple years ago for work. I simply fell in love with the area. It's gorgeous around here. And I actually got around a lot of this area on my bicycle. Lake Mendocino, for example, it was so low that you could actually walk to the island in the middle of it. Not now, though, because the island is sufficiently surrounded by water because Lake Mendocino is actually full now. In an effort to kind of reacclimate myself with the area, I did drive around to see if a couple of the places that I had frequented in the past were actually still open. And I was a little bummed out that a lot of the places that I went to on a regular basis back just only a couple of years ago were actually out of business. And that's kind of a bummer because I really wanted to go back to some of these places and revisit, see if the owners were still there. In particular, there was this bookstore that was freaking awesome. It was gone. But anyway, the video game store that I went to, it was also not there. And yeah, so anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, I'm driving around. I wanted to find somewhere to eat, so I actually circled around to my favorite place to see if it was still open, the Ukiah Brewing Company, and it was, to my surprise, still open. I mean, I figured everybody else in town had closed down. What the heck, right? But anyway, Ukiah Brewing Company was a fantastic place for me to eat, and I actually ate there 2, 3, 4 times a week, just depending on how I was feeling about it, and depending on the weather, because I was riding my bike to and from the place, and you know, it was, I didn't stay too far away from there, so it was not that big of a bike ride. But anyway, so the service, everything was super awesome every time I have been there. However, this time the service was not less than stellar. Basically, if this had been my first time going there, I would never have gone back. The manager did take and rectify the situation, but you know, long story short, I am all for legalizing cannabis. But like with alcohol, you look like an idiot when you use it in public and are at the same time at work. The manager took care of me after all this, and it was apparent that the young lady who was waiting on me was high and completely worthless. You know, I'm not telling you guys not to go there. Honestly, I'm saying that in my experience with this place, everything has been fantastic. The food's always been fantastic. I recommend this place. This is a place that I would tell you, beyond reasonable shadow of any expectation, that place is not going to disappoint you. Unfortunately, it disappointed me this time, which probably the 200 some times I've gone there, that was the one time it didn't impress me. But anyway, just want to let you know that California is one of them states, and you're probably going to come across that once in your travel where somebody is belligerently high. And yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. Some people are alcoholics, some people are stoners, and my trip today takes me out to Mendocino via Orr Springs Road. Orr Springs Road, like a lot of roads that are not considered highways, tend to be a little more on the treacherous side of things, depending on the time of year. A lot of these roads have a posted speed limit of 55. Just kind of put that in the realm of fantasy, as many of these stretches of road out here won't let you get much faster than, say, 35 before demanding you slow down due to terrain. Now, keep in the back of your mind at all times that people do bike on these roads. And unless you can see well ahead of you, I would refrain from getting too carried away with speeding. The intention is to enjoy these roads. Lord knows people living out here, this obviously gets pretty old. The windy roads, you can't see, people going slow, the bikers. I'm sure you're going to come across somebody that's not going to be putting up with a tourist, so just kind of keep that in mind. Also, as I mentioned in a previous video, if you get anyone behind you, pull to the side and let them pass. It's unlikely they want to follow you for 30 miles watching you look at trees they see every single day. Oh, also, something else. I did not mention this. Some of these roads are pretty tight and they can quite frankly be considered one lane. Anyone coming down the hill has the right of way. Do not be that guy. Don't pick a fight about it. That's just the way it is, okay? Eventually, Orr Springs Road changes into a different road, but this road ends up taking you to the Pacific Coast Highway, just south of Mendocino. My hope at this point was to get some sunset pictures of the Pacific, get some really cool pictures of the Corvette next to the ocean when the sun's going down. But as you can see, that was not happening. So I went to the cliff on the south side of Mendocino Bay and just kind of see if I could see some seals or some sea lions. I did. This is actually pretty cool. I could hear a few of them off in the distance playing, but I did see one down at the bottom of the cliff, kind of swimming around. I was kind of acting goofy at the top of the hill. It got its attention, and it was really, really cool. I thought it was awesome. I just only wonder what that thing was actually thinking. Once I got my fill of the sea life, I decided I was going to go over onto the northwest side of Mendocino, and this is where the Mendocino Arch is. Look up Goat Island, it'll take you right to it. Anyway, the water was gorgeous, and if I had been wanting to fish, or if I had a fishing pole, I would have not been at all disappointed. There were so many fish. I don't know what kind of fish they were. There were so many fish. There were huge fish in there. I didn't see any sharks or anything cool like that, but you could tell there was a bunch of fish down there, and it was definitely a hot spot if you wanted to go fishing there. I don't know if you could fish there or what, but anyway, it was what it was. So I went on the arch and just kind of looked around and watched the ocean kind of swell and ebb and flow. Pretty cool. So Mendocino is actually situated on a little peninsula, and it has a lot of trails around there. And there's a couple of beaches around there. Big river goes into there. Anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff around here. So if you were a tourist and you wanted to hang out and explore, definitely somewhere to actually hit up. Driving in this area is not much dissimilar to driving in parts of Wisconsin or upper parts of Minnesota. Kind of along the Great Lakes, that kind of landscape. Just far fewer deer, in case you were wondering. No, this small strip of Pacific Coast Highway does not count as you driving on the famous highway. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. North of here, yes. South of here, yes. Right here, no. This is more like driving through an Iowa town. Rather than go back up Orr Springs Road in the dark, I chose to take the more developed Fort Bragg Willits Road. This will take me out to Willits, which is just north of Ukiah, and keep me away from the weary biker in a low-light situation sort of situation. I'm honestly far more worried about that than I am the actual wildlife in the area. There are plenty of deer, it's just, at least the deer like pop out of nowhere and you don't know if you're going to hit them. You just don't want to be that guy that pops around a corner and this biker is in the middle of the road. You know what I'm saying? You've all been there. You know what I'm talking about. notice the further I get up this road, the darker it gets? Well, there's a couple things going on here. First off, the tree canopy is so thick, combined with the mountain valleys that you're in, that it seems like the sun is going down far sooner than it should. And let me tell you, when it gets dark out here, it gets freaking dark. Also, did I mention that they have big cats out here? Yeah, they've got large predators out here, so just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So if you are like crazy and you are biking out here, not saying I did that, but anyway, just make sure you have contingency plans. You know, California isn't you know, the most friendly to firearms, so just kind of keep that in mind. There are other things you can use to prepare yourself, so just kind of look in the take into consideration what you need to do in order to preserve your own life when it comes into situations like this. Breaking down in the middle of nowhere is a life-threatening situation. A lot of people don't realize that, but it can be a life-threatening situation. You know, especially, you know, I'm sitting here worried in one part where I am crossing the Salt Flats in the middle of the night, and I'm worried about that. Now, this here is a different kind of, you know, at least on Interstate 80, you've got people driving by and you can kind of get aid that way. Here, you may not go down a road. You may go down a road that may not be well traveled. In situations like that, you might end up with a situation where, quite frankly, they don't ever find you again. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Orr Springs Road. There was a car off the side of the road, and it was still there. This is years later. That car was still there. I mean, I did go down there when I was out here working, just to see if there was anybody there. There wasn't anybody there, so, but I digress. The car is still there years later, and you know, you wouldn't see it unless it was a tall vehicle that you were driving. But I stopped to look, and you know, I knew where it was, and I looked down the hill, and it was still there. I couldn't believe it, but it's still there. Anyway, I'm not trying to put any doom and gloom in you guys' thoughts of coming out here and enjoying this area of the country. Not trying to do that at all. Just be safe, guys. One thing I will say out here is that civilization out here is a little bit different than the rest of the country. One thing you'll notice is that, for the most part, I did say Ukiah has a lot of Midwestern vibes. When you get out into the hills out here, you start realizing that people aren't that way. People out here tend to be a little less hospitable to people because I don't know why. It just, people out here kind of put off that, northeastern, don't want to put up with anything vibe, even though you may have done nothing wrong, that sort of thing. Driving on these roads is quite freeing. It is a situation where you get out here and you feel like you're the king of the road. If you have a capable car, yes, 55 mile an hour speed limit out here it doesn't seem like much. Most of the time, you're going to be flying through this road. You're going to look at your speedometer, you're doing 40. And you're going to feel like you're doing 200-300 miles an hour. Because you're flying around these corners, you're hearing the tires chirp. You're like, man, I'm conquering I'm only doing 20? What? So just kind of keep that in mind. It's otherworldly. But the Pacific Coast Highway is a different animal from what you guys are experiencing on these side mountain roads. The roads that you're going to find that are going to be the more challenging roads are not necessarily the highways, but it's going to be the ones that are like Orr Springs Road is a good example of what you're going to find as more challenging of a road if you're wanting to do anything more than a couple of miles an hour. Okay, I'm not saying speed. You don't have to speed to have a good time on those types of road. All you're doing is utilizing the suspension, getting the car to work. If you got a motorcycle, it'd be a fantastic ride. Just make sure you keep in mind there are people out there enjoying the road just the same as you. Some of them are on bikes, some of them are actually joggers. Crazy people, yes, I know. But yeah, no, it's a place where everybody can go out and enjoy it. And maybe there's a stretch of road you just specifically want to go visit. This is the area of the country to do that. There's so much out here that you can just drop on a place or drop on a mountain pass and just go, and it's unbelievable. And usually the weather's not too bad. Like I said, October, November, September, October, November, you're gonna have the best weather out here. So you come out here around this time of the year if you want to drive. You're going to be able to find plenty of places out here to be able to drive and be able to exercise your car, and you won't even have to speed to do it. And if you've got like a Porsche or like a C4 Corvette, definitely not a C5 because they suck, but I'm just joking. But no, if you got a Corvette, it's made for roads like this. If you've got a Porsche, made for roads like this, or an MG, MGs aren't terribly fast, but they're very, very fun cars. The old Miata out here, oh my goodness, these roads are made for those cars. I mean, you would say that the cars are made for the roads, but no, in this case, the roads are made for the cars. And that's just how it feels like. Super windy roads. Yeah. This is why I brought her here. For this stuff. Intermittent problems. The last stretch of highway. You can see people driving up right now. Yeah. Look at this thing. Actually, believe it or not, a couple of years ago I was actually out here working on this power line. Yesterday. I didn't have the Corvette, but that's the reason why I was able to get the Corvette. So, look at the sun going down over the ocean. You can see the Pacific Ocean over there. You see the sun rays coming up. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, yeah, this car was built for roads like this. I love it. If you got one, I'd say bring it out here at least once. You got it. Do yourself a favor. Anyway, not yet done with my adventure out here, so let's get to it. Thank you guys for watching. I see a lot of return viewers on this series, and it means a lot to me that you guys come back again and again to see what's next. Well, next I visit the Golden Gate Bridge, and I go to the beach, and I drive a little bit more on the Pacific Coast Highway. This time I actually do a little bit of driving on the Pacific Coast Highway and get a little bit of a taste of just what is coming. Anyway, guys, if you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon link in the description below, and I also have the comment section. In the comment section, I encourage everybody to leave a comment. It really means a lot to me when you guys interact with the videos. Then I know what you guys are liking. You know, if you see different parts of the videos that you like, definitely point them out, and I'll try to replicate that in future videos. I'm kind of doing a little bit different with each one of these videos, trying to figure out what style I want to use. But you know, it is what it is. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.